I just realized I just gave a like uninvited crotch.
Yeah, give a nice crotch show, bro. Enjoy that.
I apologize, Jack. I apologize.
No, I'm sure the fans will appreciate it. You've given us a
We'll
lot more
download it
views.
and turn it into a reel, yo.
So, of course, I think there's no better way to start this than me saying congratulations on representing Malta for Eurovision. That's a crazy, massive achievement. I just wanted to know how, of course, how does it feel? What was the feeling when that was announced? And just take me through the process. I'd love to hear.
We all definitely have different journeys.
You can see the photo, like different
yeah.
faces.
we all had a different, what's the word? The spectrum. Yeah, the spectrum of shock. You know, you have Sean, which goes rooted into the sportsman. You know,
And it reflects that he's coming from a sports
yeah.
Wow.
You know, then there's John, who definitely took it at heart. And then there's me, barely a pulse pulsating through my body. But by the end of it, we were all teary-eyed, ugly crying in front of the whole country.
Ugly cry.
It's the best way to do it. Of course, there's no better reaction. I mean, what would you say all three of you are most excited about? Because it's such a massive achievement and such an exciting thing to be a part of. But for each of you, what are you most excited about the whole thing in general? Because it's something to be really, really excited about for sure.
I think all of us, all three of us are very hardworking on what we do. I think that's what kept us all together. I think we all are in a way investors. You know, we all invested in this project. John invested 10 years ago, Sean 8 years ago, and me is the latest investor 3 years ago. But I think what we all feel is that we all planted a small tree. We all saw it grow. But from this tree, a new fruit kind of is developing and it's finding its way into the soil. Hopefully, a bigger tree will come out of this.
And Dave was a great fertilizer.
Let's keep it metaphorically.
That is the magic of it, though. You know, as a band, you have each other to lean on, and you know, you're all part of this journey, which makes it, I think, an even more magical process. You know, but of course, I have to say I'm a fan of your song, Dance Our Own Party. I've been listening to it on repeat, of course. But apart from your own song, what would you say is your favorite Eurovision Song Contest song this year, apart from your own, of course?
I have different ones. As in mine is Israel's Unicorn. I love the branding. I love her voice. I love the whole video thing. It's cool.
I have to go to my rooted origins with Netherlands, Dutch, Burning Daylight, definitely.
Another beautiful song.
It has to be the one of Serbia of Luke Blacks.
Ah, good collection. You've all got your own different favorite. I love that. And I can agree with all of you. They're all great songs. But as I said, I have had yours on repeat. I'm just saying it's been a real good one to get in a happy mood with. I love it.
One thing that we have in common here is that all of the songs, including ours, are on the same first semi-final.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, you know I'll be rooting for you till the very end, so you have your fan support, don't you worry, of course.
Thank you.
Of course, guys. And I just wanted to now ask you, if you could you give me a brief bit of your favorite songs? Do you think you could sing a little bit of me? So you can start with Unicorn.
I can't sing to save my life, my friend. I'm sorry. I'll leave the singing to Dave. My saxophone's in the car. If that was here, I would play you a bit of it after some rigorous
training. I love your saxophone.
Unfortunately, even though it is my favorite song, it's not the one that I recall most. Because what I loved about it is how brilliantly the verse and the melody transform. So I loved it from a academic songwriter point of view, which is a very boring answer. But That's definitely why I love it. It's the fact that I can't recall it, but every time I listen to it, it feels like a new experience.
No, I think that was a very good answer and a good way of getting away from not singing it. So well done. I
Crafty bugger.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. Now, next question for you guys. I'd love to hear what you say for this. I want to know who you think could be your biggest competition this year. Are there any other entries that you think maybe are quite similar to what you're bringing, or who you just think you are competing against in some way? What are your thoughts on that?
For me personally, as in, I don't think we will. I don't know how you want to look at it. As in terms of a competition, we don't really look at it as I'm looking at that person as the person who can stand in my way of something. We look at. I think we look at it more of as that's a person who did his thing, is representing his country. We're people that are doing our thing, representing our country, and
Yeah, I think we can't look at it as 100 dogs for one bone in a way. I think given that a lot of the fan favorites are in our night, we feel kind of what's the word, lucky in a way and privileged to have those 3 minutes where it's just focused on us. A lot of people are kind of commenting on the fact that we have a kind of a death slot being the second performers. However, I don't know. I think all of us had this conversation. We sat around it and we all feel very confident about it because, as you said, I mean, as the question implies, we don't really feel like there's another act which is close to what we're offering. So we don't believe that we're going to be overlooked. With confidence, we say it because we always work towards being ourselves, and I'm sure that no one can really get too close to being somebody else, you know. So in the context of the competition, I don't think there's anyone close to being as similar to someone else. We all contribute different things.
I think that's the beauty of Eurovision. In fact, it brings sort of flavor.
Yeah.
You hear different type of songs, even the language. Okay, ours is in English, but you can hear Italy, for example, singing in Italian. You know, so you get to hear even the language,
the culture within them.
The culture within them, exactly. So I think that's the beauty of it, and that's why I think each song is unique in its own way, you know, and sort of there is no like rivals. Okay, this is similar to this, because at the end of the day, it's the country that's being represented.
100%. That's a great answer from each of you, and I have to agree. I think you as a band are so unique, and no one really does compare to each other this year. Everyone's got their own thing going for them, which is great to see. And I think you're looking at it in the best way. It's to have fun, and I think your song is perfect for really, you know, showing positivity and fun and just enjoying the moment, because I think that's what your song stands for, and that's what Eurovision's all about as well. So it's great to see.
No, thank you. That's a very nice take on our song. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. Now I really would love to know, as well as yourselves, Malta has had some really, really great performers, especially for Eurovision in the past. I would just love to know who maybe some of your favorites are, because I'm sure there might be a few there.
I'll go with I've been asked this question before. I'll go with my classic answer. That's Ira. Ira Losko is a legend of pop in Malta, as in everyone looks at her as the queen of pop. I respect her a lot for the longevity of her career, and also for constantly releasing new music and trying to recreate herself and create new kinds of music. And apart from that as well, I'm a session musician with her sometimes in some gigs. So you go, Ira.
I'm going with a definite fan favorites, which is Destiny. She's a friend of ours. She actually was so cool with us having her as a cutout on stage. And I mean, our relationship dates back to when we were in the X Factor season 2 together, when she got to represent Malta through that experience.
I'm going to be a little bit more nostalgic here. Eurovision for me it represents childhood memories as well. So I grew up listening to Eurovision songs, and obviously the Maltese one stood out the most for us because we used to sing them at schools. So sort of it brings a lot of different memories. And probably if I have to choose one of my favorites, it would be either Desire by Claudette Patch, which you still get to hear it even nowadays at weddings or private parties. Sort of everyone plays it.
They also request it a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
It's quite a favorite.
So probably. And then yes, growing up, then there was also Gianluca with his entry Tomorrow, which also represented sort of a switch during that time in Malta Eurovision Song Contest. He brought something not fresh, but it was more current with what was going during that time in the early 10s. Sort of there was a specific type of music which was popular, and sort of he brought that thing into his song and took it to Eurovision.
Yeah, I think you've all mentioned someone really, again, unique in their own style. And I have to say, personally, I remember watching Destiny and really thinking she was in for the win because she has so much fan support and love around her. And she was so positive, like yourselves. And she was so close. And it kind of brings me to another question for you guys. I think you had a really interesting answer about, you not taking it as a competition. But if you were to win, because there's a possibility there, how would that feel for you? And to host Eurovision in Malta, what would that be like?
I couldn't even fathom that answer when we won MESC, let alone winning the big one, as in the massive one, the bigger sister of that one.
Yeah. we sometimes hinted, I mean, things are far-fetched, but it's always nice to dream, and not just that. I mean, we used to hint the idea of winning MESC, and I mean, we're here. So every time we try and find each other like a kind of inside joke in a moment of kind of fog, and we're like, imagine we won Eurovision Song Contest, and like the first reaction would definitely is to giggle and laugh about it, because it's like like a bit of the jitters, Personally, I think what we want to achieve this year is, I mean, if we had to win, what would be great about it is the narrative of kind of three small town boys coming from an island,
Saucy gentlemen,
which is considered kind of a detached villa from every neighbor in the continent, like the joke about neighbors, we have no neighbors, like
got no neighbors, got
maybe some good tuna. Some big yacht coming into port, but that's mostly it. But if that had to happen, we'll change the narrative for our country, that arts are regarded as hobby or just another flavor or phase in your life. I think, again, what I want to mention is that us three, we all struggled with keeping art at the center of our lives. And that is the biggest take home we've got so far, is that for the first time ever, we're being respected as artists and as musicians externally, rather than just having it come internally. So I think if we had to win, I think that would be such a proud change in narrative for our country.
And just to add a small little twinge to what he said, one of the inside jokes leading up to it, which we had going on, was the narrators in Liverpool saying, "Oh, these three saucy gentlemen from Malta." We kept repeating that consistently, and it was so funny.
Yeah, if we can get commentators to say it,
I hope they say it.
If we can get, so anyone who's watching, this is not a plug. This is
call us saucy, please.
Very saucy gentleman with a nice track from Malta.
Also, just with a small comment as well. I think the beauty of it is that, again, if we bring Eurovision to Malta, then other local artists can also be exposed, with international audience, because people might take interest in local music, which in my opinion it's really great, and there are a lot of great artists here locally. So it would be nice also for them to get a bit of an exposure, with the international audience. And lastly, to add the last thing, it would be such a big payback, kind of, that, like, because we currently owe so much to the Maltese Eurovision fans.
And it would be such a nice thing to be able to give the Eurovision experience back to them by just having and hosting Eurovision in Malta. We have to find where to do that.
The
Maybe
Prime Minister will not be happy.
Yeah,
we'll find it.
we might need to build another island.
That would be great, just for Eurovision. I can see it. I can see it.
I remember when Chiara was
Close to winning. Yeah.
I remember someone had this idea of building something on the sea. Actually,
I think that's what we did for Junior Eurovision. Yeah. Mela, that's what we did.
Okay.
We had a stage on the sea, and guests and the act had to travel by boat.
And that's cool. Okay, cool.
I think that sounds fabulous. Like there's no other Eurovision like that. I think that would be great, honestly. And you know, I'm glad you mentioned the Maltese Eurovision fans, because actually we have some fans questions that came through for you guys that I'd love to ask. Are you ready?
Sure. Fire away.
Brilliant. Right, so first one, be prepared. If you could have any superpower, what could it be?
Individually, obviously.
Of course, individually.
Teleportation.
Nice.
I would still be late, but I would have been more productive with my time.
I think the one superpower I would request is to be able to perfectly connect my high altissimo notes with my upper register on the saxophone. If I manage to do that in my lifetime, I can be happy.
You will.
That's enough.
This is a very difficult question. Probably either make myself invincible, probably.
Invincible or invisible?
Wow.
Immortal?
Not immortal.
You can't get hurt.
No, not be seen.
Invisible.
Invisible, not invincible. Sorry, invisible.
Invincible.
No, sir. Invisible. Sort of, you can go to places without being seen. You know.
I feel like I'm
sneaky.
That goes with the concept.
You avoid social awkwardness. You know.
You have to be naked for your body to like turn totally invisible. Or...
No, but like that, I can wear my pajamas, you know, and go outside.
Stay at the party.
But you have no guarantee that your clothes are going to be invisible too.
Huh? No. Everything has to be invisible.
Everything you touch.
Yes.
That's us basically, as you can see.
All right.
I feel like each of your superpowers, I'm seeing a new music video in mind. I just see it.
Let's do it. Get a camera. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I have a vision now. Right, the questions get weirder. We've got another one for you guys from the fans. If you were stranded on a deserted island, not Malta, another island, of course.
It's far from deserted, man.
We call it the attached villa.
Yes, this is the hypothetical detached island away from Malta. Okay, now if you could only bring one celebrity with you, who would it be and why?
Easy, Tom Hanks.
Wilson! Yeah, that's genius. That is genius. You can't come up with a better answer than that for an island. Man, come on. The volleyball. No, that's not a celebrity though. Wilson, actual Wilson. No, doesn't work. I don't know who I picked. I like Wilson. We'll go with Tom Hanks.
As a collective.
Yeah,
It's a good answer.
That's the answer.
It's a strong answer. I'll take that one. I think it's perfect. Now, if aliens came to Earth and challenged you to a dance-off, what dance moves would you do to impress them?
The floss.
The floss.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that an agreement with all of you?
I have no better answer, but that does not mean I enjoyed that one. But so yeah.
I just realized I just gave a like uninvited crotch.
Yeah, gave a nice crotch show, bro. Enjoy that.
I apologize, Jack. I apologize.
No, I'm sure the fans will appreciate it. You've given us a lot more
download it
views.
and turn it into a reel, you know.
I'm really sorry. That was unconsented.
You're forgiven. Don't you worry. We're swiftly moving on to the next question.
Swiftly.
Now, you've collaborated with other Maltese artists in the past, some big names. You mentioned some earlier as well. Are there any other artists you'd like to collaborate with in the future? Any dream collaborations?
But Maltese or even foreign?
Well, yeah, anywhere really, but maybe they could be Maltese.
John Mayer.
Well, if we're going for internationally, I think we'd go with John Mayer. Yeah.
Okay, thank God for that.
Uh,
I would
yeah.
spend hours asking him, how do you do that?
John
How do you
Mayer.
do that?
Okay, John Mayer for me. Internationally would be Daniel Caesar
Matty Healy.
or Matt Healy from the 1975. But locally, I'll definitely want to work with Destiny, and maybe this after Eurovision experience is over, we might be able to talk about that.
Yo, you think we can
What
do
do you
some?
think, Destiny?
Have
I
some
like
heavy
this.
vocals on this song?
Free saucy gentlemen.
That one saucy lady.
We've got yeah, exactly. We've got an exclusive here. I would love to hear a Busker song with Destiny. That would be a dream collaboration.
Yeah,
I can
okay.
imagine it now. Oh, I look forward to that. You better tell me about that, okay? Now, going back to your music videos, because they're very good. I love them. Oh, they often feature beautiful locations around Malta, of course. A beautiful, beautiful place. How important is it to you guys to show your home country in your music and your music video, but also in your music in general, and your overall artistic vision? Because it really is in your music, and you can tell it comes from the heart. So why is that so important to each of you?
Can I take the lead on
Yes,
this?
please.
Yeah, I think the beauty of it is exactly what we mentioned before. I think we all, as artists, we all come from a culture, from a different cultural background. I think inevitably we are rooted into that culture because of the nurture of where we're coming from. I think when we have the opportunity and when the concept arises that we can involve our scenery and our Maltese history, especially with how rich Malta's history is, I think it's just an ode, and it pays so much respect to what we're coming from as a means of understanding who we are as a nation and as where our art is coming from. How we are looking at it as well is that the fact that Malta is kind of the mother, not just the motherland, but the mother metaphorically, who has nurtured us and is now launching us out to represent her as a country and as a nation and as a culture. So that's, I think,
Wow, really
should
glad to
answer.
hear
Yeah,
that.
I think that should answer it.
That's a brilliant answer. No, you've put it beautifully, and I think you do represent that in your art. So you're doing all the right things, and you're achieving your goals for sure. That's 100% sure. Now, of course, I want to know this year, massive achievement, as I said, Eurovision, huge. But what's next for the Busker? You've got Eurovision now. What's the next dream? What's the next goal? Because I'm sure there's something else as well.
I think out of respect for the massive opportunity at hand here, we should be focusing, and we will be focusing on the task at hand. Carry on there.
We're constantly writing music, so for us, even if the Eurovision did not happen for us, we'll still be releasing songs. So probably after the Eurovision is going to be a continuation of that, and playing live gigs as well. Probably with Eurovision in the whole picture, I think now it gives us a little bit of more bigger platforms to showcase our own original material. So I believe that yes, for sure, these next 2 months are all going to be about Eurovision. Obviously, we want to give our 100% and pay respects also to those people who voted us here in Malta and Malta and Gozo in general. So that's going to be the main focus. But obviously, hopefully it will motivate us to keep on writing and keep on releasing songs, and hopefully we have also new opportunities, even from other countries. So like this will hopefully we'll get even new fans as well, sort of like an introduction to our music. And I think that's what I want to achieve from this whole experience. We will get new fans and get new opportunities to showcase our own music.
As John said, I think this is the first time and the longest time we ever spent not writing music.
Yes.
Which
is driving me crazy.
It is driving us crazy for sure. So anyone who wishes to follow us is promised music, because unfortunately it's something that drives us up the wall if we're not doing. So this is a plug for anyone who wants to follow us. Just go ahead.
Why
A
would
little app time with the Busker.
It's coming. I think I want to ask you guys as a final question. It's more of a personal one. I really want to come to Malta. As I said, it's beautiful, beautiful country. Where are the top places to go as a tourist to Malta? I'm sure you guys know.
One each.
Yes. Let's go.
Start.
So for me, I have to give mention to our sister island, Gozo. It's a very, very quiet place. Lots of great films, I think, were filmed also on Gozo. The people are amazing as well. Really, really good food. And it's a nice getaway. So you have Malta, which is sort of obviously the loudest between the two. But if you want to have some quiet, set yourself in a quiet scenery, I think Gozo is the place to go.
One of the things that I need to mention is that there's a best time when to come to Malta as well. I think personally, if I had to choose a time frame, would be this time in beginning of April and mid-April, for two reasons. It's not too hot, but it's already sunny. And if someone is interested in the cultural aspect of it, people should really check out the Good Friday procession, and then another one is the Easter Sunday procession, because I feel they're quite unique and how we do them in Malta. But then there's also Comino, which is a blue lagoon, which anyone who's interested in the sea, it's crystal clear blue.
Might have to wait an extra month though.
But depends.
It's cold, man.
Depends.
I want to zoom into a different kind of scenario. Just imagine yourself in Malta on a holiday. You're looking for somewhere to go at night, all right? So drive to Valletta, catch a bus to Valletta, catch taxi to Valletta. You walk in and you start seeing all these little bars in the center. You get to see the creme de la creme of Maltese jazz musicians really just pour it out. And that's what I love doing when I have a bit of free time, which we don't have anymore. That's gone. But when we did, I really used to enjoy just walking up. There was a place called Babel. You just sit down and you just watch the jazz musicians do their thing and just listen, learn, query, remember, get angry you can't play, and those are things. I love it. It's cool.
It sounds beautiful. A perfect night out. I've got it all in my mind. I'm already there mentally, guys. I'm gonna go there for
You
sure.
have it on tape as well now. You can recall it.
Exactly. I know exactly what to do. Now, I just want to thank you all for giving me your time and for sharing your thoughts and your excitement for Eurovision. And I will be rooting for you guys, that's for sure. As I said, you've done brilliantly.
No, thanks a lot for your time. Honestly, I'm sure that like what we gave is just a fraction of how thankful we are of this opportunity. Thank you for allowing us to share our thoughts and amazing questions. Honestly, we were challenged with some new ones, which is good.